I want to talk about is, let me see how to phrase this, because I was thinking about this before I started to shoot. So what I really want to talk about is people who allow themselves to let other people dictate the way they live their life. So let me see if I can break this down. I firmly believe, right, that if anyone, if you let someone, if you let someone's expectations of, you know, of the way they think you should live your life guide you, then that could prevent you from finding happiness. So in other words, everyone always, you know, has something to say. People have something to say. And, you know, they might not like the way you do this or the way you do that or whatever the this and the that is, because they have their pre-mindset, that predetermined mindset of, you know, the way they feel like people should live their lives. And the moment that someone is not living their life like that, what happens is then they want to judge you, right? Because I don't like the way this person's doing this, or I don't like the way this person's doing that. But, you know, the more I realize it, actually, this goes back to 2013 for me. That's when this kind of really came in my mind. My grandmother passed away in November 2013, and it had been 2 years since I saw her, because, you know, my grandmother lived in Trinidad and Tobago, specifically in Tobago, which is where I grew up and was born and raised. And I live here in the US, so, you know, it had been 2011, it was the last time I was home, and she passed away in November 2013. The crazy thing is I already had a ticket to actually go home for Christmas that December, so it was like, you know, she passed away a couple weeks before I was actually even planning to go home. But anyway, long story short, when I went for the funeral, you know, my grandmother was this, I believe, this strong person, and then to see her laying in the casket, just, you know, peaceful, quiet, lifeless, was just what I, besides being sad and just kind of rocked and shaken and all that type of stuff, as I was flying back, you know, to the US, and I had a lot of time in the plane to just think, I was just thinking to myself, my goodness, like, and I knew that people died, I mean, obviously, but it's just, you know, I was thinking to myself, man, there is going to come a day when all of us, you know, all of us are going to pass on. And you really can't worry about what people have to say. Because at the end of the day, you're going to die, and the people who are saying stuff are going to die. So you might as well just try to live your life to you know, to make you happy, to please yourself, not to please anyone else. Now, not pleasing anyone else doesn't mean you're not going to be respectful to people, or it doesn't mean that you don't, you know, respect boundaries or respect people you love, or just respect people in general in society and rules and norms or whatever the case is. But what it doesn't mean, I believe, is that you don't live your day-to-day life, or you don't make crucial life decisions such as who you marry or who you love or whatever the case is, because someone else doesn't like it. The someone else is not living with you. The someone else is probably not paying your bills. The someone else is not living with the person that you like. So I think that too many, you know, the next thing is, so many of us love to say, I'm keeping it real. And I've come to realize that that is bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. That a lot of us love to say, oh, I'm keeping it real, or whatever the case is, and guys love to say that as well, I'm keeping it real. But the truth is, most people are probably walking around with a facade, pretending to be something that they are not. And a lot of the reasons because of why they're doing that is because they care so much, or that sometimes we care so much about what other people think, that we walk around with this facade and we pretend to be something that we're not because we're so concerned about what other people are going to think. If you live your life, your day-to-day life, your whole life, just completely based on the way people think, then what kind of life are you living? You're living somebody else's life. You're not living your life. You're living the life that all these people or whoever it is want you to live, not the life that you want to live. And so there are a lot of people, a lot of times, who are not living good life. You know, there are a lot of people who are married and they don't want to be married, but it's what their family wants them to be. There are a lot of people who are married to people that they should not be married to, but they did it because it's kind of expectations, or, you know, it puts on this nice little show. There are a lot of people in marriage that don't even want to be in it in the first place, but they show up to work and they put on either literally their makeup or whatever they call it, or the facade of a makeup, and they pretend to be happy or whatever the case is because someone is not for it. There are a lot of people who are in relationships, right, and they don't want to be in those relationships, but they're doing it. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. People who are pretending to be something that they're not. And a lot of times why we do it is because of society's norms, or we're so worried about what people in society would say about us. And to me, that is not happiness. You do not find happiness by living your life based on someone else's predetermined definitions or perception of what life is supposed to be like for you. You live your life based on your own perceptions of what life is supposed to be like for you, not what someone else thinks life is supposed to be like. So I just wanted to do this video because this is something I talk about a lot in a lot of the life coaching classes that I do, and you know, with my students that I teach in college and all that. These are some of the discussions that I have, and you know, it's toxic. It's a waste of time to try to live your life to please someone else. Look, you know, at the end of the day, there's always going to be somebody who's not going to like something that you do. And you're going to die, somebody's going to die. Like, do you want to spend your 50, 60, 30, 40, whatever years you have on planet Earth living for somebody else and not really, really being happy? Living in a house when you don't want to be there? Being in a marriage when you don't want to be in it? Being married to someone that you don't want to be married to? Or whatever the case is? Or do you want to actually be your authentic self? Because being your authentic self takes a lot of internal strength. Being your authentic self takes faith for you to step out and to be your own person. Being your authentic self really takes a lot of power and integrity and all that type of stuff. Willpower, self-esteem to really step forward and to be that authentic self. So I just want to close by saying, be your authentic self. Be the person that you choose to be. Live the life that you choose to be. We only got one life, right? And the last thing we want to do is to live that life trying to please someone else. So just always remember, though, always remember that you will always, always, always have a choice. Make that choice. Live your life to please yourself. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. Please, please, please leave your comments. I would love to hear from you and have an opportunity to interact with you. Hit the post notification button as well, and you can follow me on my other forms of social media. Until next time, make the choice that makes you happy. See you next time.